9 reasons email is wonderful. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. There are many ways to communicate these days. So many ways that it just boggles the mind. What was once limited to postal mail and landline telephone calls has blossomed to include instant messages and chat, store and forward audio and video messages, text messages, video call services, Zoom and its competitors, and more. I use all of those from time to time as situations warrant, but I keep coming back to a tried and true communication mechanism that works the best for me for so many reasons. I keep coming back to email. Email lets me think. This is by far the most important reason I gravitate to email as my communication mechanism of choice. I feel like I'm horrible off the cuff. I feel awkward and I'm put on the spot, and I'm usually left with that I should have said feeling for some time thereafter. I just don't think that fast. Composing an email lets me take whatever time I need, be it a few seconds, a few minutes, or sometimes a few hours. Email lets me say exactly what I want. Just as importantly, email allows me to carefully craft what I say and to make sure that I'm saying what I intend to say. That's not to say I'm still not occasionally misunderstood. No communication mechanism is perfect. But if I can invest the time to think about what I'm saying and how I say it, chances are I'll do a much better job of getting my point across. Yes, I suppose it helps that I'm a writer, but let's clarify. It wasn't always so. I'm first and foremost a computer geek, and have been since Fortran was a requirement course back in my college days. I was certainly no writer then, not a writer of words anyway. I was and remain a writer of code. And yet, email was it for me from the moment I was introduced to it. Email lets me consume on my schedule. Email never needs to be an interruption. If it is, you're doing it wrong. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I can turn off emails for hours, and I often do, and that's okay. I can choose when I'm going to consume email or not. I might elect not to open my email program until noon some days, or clear out my inbox first thing and then ignore it while I get other things done. I control it, not the other way around. Email lets me reply without interrupting. So similarly to email coming to me, I could reply to anyone at any time and know that it doesn't create an interruption for them. I never feel guilty about sending an email. That means I'm more likely to respond rather than avoid the awkwardness or annoyance of some other form of contact. I can scan email quickly. No one said I have to read the whole message. Particularly on active discussion lists, it's often enough to check out a subject line or quickly scan a bit of the message and realize that it's just not something I need to participate in. Deleting is also my friend. I can and often do quickly scan the accumulated email in the morning and delete or archive anything or everything that I don't care to act on. And I can do that all quickly and easily. I can read it anywhere. Naturally, I deal with email on my computer. But I can also deal with it on my mobile phone or tablet. Sometimes those devices aren't the best for composing a lengthy reply, but as I said earlier, I can choose when I want to do that. What they are great for, however, is scanning, reading, deleting, and archiving the email that comes in, no matter where I am. Waiting in various locations like restaurants or traffic jams before and after meetings, and yes, sometimes during, while having a coffee at Starbucks, it doesn't matter where I am, email is ubiquitous. I can preserve context. One of the problems with delayed responses is that the sender often loses context. For example, if I reply, yes, well, they may have forgotten the question they asked just the day before. That's easily dealt with. My replies often look like this. A bit of the message, just enough for context, and my response. It's a wonderful way to make sure that everything is clear and everyone is on the same page. I can keep a record. I keep almost all of my email, both what I send and what I receive. Storage is cheap after all. There's no predicting what I'll need a year or two from now. And yes, I have occasionally gone back several years to find something. Knowing I have all this email archived, and of course backed up, makes finding old and random items easy. Now, on this one, I have to present the other side for a moment. This is why lawyers prefer calls and in-person meetings. Email records can be subpoenaed by the courts in many jurisdictions. That message you sent last year could be an important part of a court case. As long as it's something that helps your cause, well, that's fine. But if not, well, you may want to reconsider how much email you keep and for how long. And as ever, I'm not an attorney. If you have an actual question regarding to the legal issues surrounding email retention, I strongly suggest you contact yours. You get what you ask for. In recent years, it's become popular to connect with people via social media. It's also a popular publication medium for content creators. Post something on social media and people see it. As simple as that. Except it's not that simple at all. Algorithms now show you what will keep you engaged rather than the information you want from the people you follow. There's no such algorithm for email. When someone signs up for my newsletter, for example, they get what they asked for, my newsletter, every week. Yeah, spam filters can sometimes interfere, but there are solutions for that, unlike social media algorithms. I've switched many of my social media follows and subscribes to email subscriptions when offered by the creator. It's significantly more reliable. All right. Lots of people hate email. My position is that if you hate email, you're probably doing it wrong. People that hate email usually are those with an overflowing inbox. My friends, if that's your reaction, if that's your situation, like I said, you're doing email wrong. There's no reason that email can't be managed into a useful tool instead of an oppressive burden. Unsubscribe. Stop receiving all those newsletters and promotional emails that you're not paying attention to anyway. Yeah, even my own. If you're not finding it helpful, then why should I be bugging you? Use that spam filter. Make sure that all the stuff you shouldn't unsubscribe from, the stuff that you didn't originally ask for, gets swept out of your inbox automatically so you never have to look for it. Don't save email in your inbox. Set up folders and sort messages into them once you decide what they need. You're probably not going to act on them while they're in your inbox anyway, so why have them in your face? Act on each message once. Now, this one's an ideal that I admit I don't always reach, but the goal is simple. Touch each incoming message only once if at all possible. On your first read, archive it, delete it, reply to it, or do whatever makes sense for the type of message it is. Rules. Those are your friend. Use rules and filters to sort your incoming email for you automatically. My servers, for example, send me a bunch of email every night. I never look at it, since I have inbox rules set up to automatically move them to a folder. If I encounter an issue, I can always find them in that folder. Use the computer for what it's good for. Automated tasks. Use multiple accounts. Often when we get too much email as a result of signing up for things, making purchases that require an email address, and so on, use a throwaway account so you can pay attention only until you've completed the transaction. If a subscription or an account becomes important, you can always change the email address to your primary email account. Turn off new message alerts. This is so important on your computer, on your mobile device, whatever. Email should never interrupt you. Period. Check email when you feel like it. And even then, don't check it very often. There's just no reason to. Polling for email, or even worse, having a new message alert pop up while you're doing something else, not only interrupts what you're doing, but it adds to that sense of being overwhelmed. Don't think of email as something you do. Email isn't a job. It's not a role. It's not an end in and of itself. Email is simply a tool to get other things done. Evaluate it like any other tool you use and learn to use it appropriately. Now, it's a common comment that individuals under a certain age, which ranges from 10 to 40, depending on who you're talking to, don't use email. Right. The kids aren't jumping on it as quickly as they once did. But I suspect they will as situations arise for which it remains the best solution. For instance, when they enter the professional workforce, they will, almost from day one, use email. Any that want to communicate reliably with those on the other side of that imaginary dividing line of age will as well. And to be completely realistic, yeah, email's not for everyone. For folks with lifestyle issues or any issue that makes reading and or writing itself a burden, email may not always be the best choice. Email has its issues and its problems. There's no escaping that. But it's not dead, not by a long shot. Bottom line, embrace email. Learn to use it effectively. It's a tool that will pay off in the long run. For updates, comments, links to related articles, and more, visit askleo.com/16644. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.